Good morning. This is Casey O'Brien, to the National CyberWatch Center. Can you hear me okay? That's great. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Lisa. Okay. Me just make sure we've got. Okay. I see people are replying in the chat room. Great. Okay. Good morning. Well, good morning and happy Halloween. This is the second to last topic in our 2014 webinar series, and it's really just an update for members of the National CyberWatch Center. Give you an idea kind of what we've got going on, upcoming events that may be of interest to our members, and then just provide some time for Q&A and return it over to you all so I can answer any questions that you might have. So I'm going to go ahead and start recording. Give me 1 second here. Okay. Like the recording had started. Perfect. All right. People are in here. I'm all by myself today, so I'm going to be running the recorder and checking the chat room and managing the slides and working the phone. So bear with me as I try to multitask various tasks. Great. Okay. So for those just joining, I'm Casey O'Brien, Executive Director, Principal Investigator of the National CyberWatch Center. This is an ongoing part of the 2014 webinar series. And the webinar series is the last Friday of each month at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And next will be building enrollments. We're going to have Dr. Margaret Leary from Northern Virginia Community College, one of the largest community college systems in the country. Talk to her about what it takes to actually build enrollments at your various schools, and that will be actually the 21st. Normally, again, we host the webinar series on the last Friday of each month, but that will be the day after Thanksgiving. So we're gonna host the last topic, building enrollments, of 2014 webinar series on Friday, November 21st. And one of the things I want to talk about and get people thinking about are topics for the 2015 webinar series. So start thinking about the kinds of things you would like us to talk about in this format, which is typically a panel format moderated by myself. There is a webinar series link on the cyberwatchcenter.org website, and you can go there and check video recordings of the previous topics as well as any of the lecture slides. And there's some good stuff there, things like curriculum and the changes to the Center for Academic Excellence program and research initiative, grant opportunities, et cetera, et cetera. So a question, easiest thing to do for those that are on a computer or using the WebEx app on their phone is to simply use the chat feature in WebEx, and you can type in at any point. I have everybody muted. I will unmute folks and allow time after each slide for people to ask questions. I really want this to be interactive, so feel free to ask questions as we go. As far as accessing the recording, again, there is on the cyberwatchcenter.org website, which will be updated in a couple days. There is a webinar series link on the bottom right, and we have all of the 2014 webinar series topics, any related slides, supplemental documents, and then the recordings themselves. those are available. If you have any technical problems, the best thing to do would be to try to log out and log back in. I'm not going to be able, since I'm by myself today, normally what happens is we've got a couple other people that are helping me out. I normally have people send an email to COBrien, COBRIEN, at cyberwatchcenter.org. It's going to be tough for me to run the slides and answer questions in the chat room and be checking my email. So hopefully we won't have any problems. We haven't typically. It's pretty rock solid platform that we're using. So let's jump into it. So I want to focus today on just some things related to membership, specifically national membership initiative that's going on. I also want to talk about the members' reception at the upcoming National Initiative for Cybersecurity Education, or NICE conference in Columbia, Maryland, next Wednesday and Thursday, the 5th and 6th of November. Columbia is Baltimore and D.C., so easy location to get to from either D.C. or Baltimore for those that are coming in for that. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk a little bit about a new way in which we're going to start communicating more regularly with our members, and that will be the newsletter. A bit about the 2015 webinar series, Community College Cyber Summit, or 3CS, and plans for curriculum, and then allow some time for Q&A. And of course, again, if you have any questions throughout, you can in the chat room answer those, or after each slide, I'll allow some time for Q&A, and I'll unmute everybody. So if you could go ahead though and mute your phones, that would help out a lot. So let's start with the membership initiative. So those that don't know, CyberWatch has really adopted a membership growth model from the beginning, and the whole philosophy, like many grant management models, is you get federal funding in, you develop materials, programs, courses, faculty professional development workshops, you run camps, and you give everything away. And we grow membership really organically, and have continued to grow our membership organically over the past 9 years. This January 2015, CyberWatch will have been around for 10 years. And we have close to about 150 plus members in 40 states, almost evenly split, about 75 two-year schools, about 75 four-year schools. And today it costs nothing to become a CyberWatch member, the number of benefits, and that's worked very well. But in that time, 4 other centers, specifically CyberWatch West, has been stood up in Washington State at Wincopin Community College with a regional focus. The Advanced Cyber Forensics Education, or ACE consortium, at Daytona State, focusing on digital forensics in Florida, Georgia, South Carolina. Have the Center for System Security and Information Assurance, or CASIA, at Moraine Valley Community College, the oldest National Science Foundation-funded community college cybersecurity education consortium. Of course, National CyberWatch Center at Prince George's Community College, and the Cybersecurity Education Consortium, or CSEC, at the University of Tulsa. So you have, in effect, basically 5 community college cybersecurity centers. And so with a national center now at Prince George's Community College, the National Science Foundation, and in some degree some of our members have really been pushing us to think about an overall membership strategy. You know, what does it mean to be a member of, say, CyberWatch West in the western part of the United States? Excuse me. What are the benefits you get as a member of CyberWatch West? And can my school be a member of the National CyberWatch Center? And what are the benefits I get as a national organization? And so those questions like those are starting to be looked at and addressed through a membership initiative, which includes member of the National CyberWatch Center team. So Terry Kepner is our Director of Member Services and has been for a number of years, at least 6. On that team, we've got an external evaluator kind of driving the whole process. We've got members of our executive team, and we have representatives comprised of members themselves, as well as some of the principal investigators of the other centers, like Corinne Sandy from Watch West at Wincopin Community College. In fact, really, the group is looking to do is to try to answer questions like how can the National CyberWatch Center serve its members more effectively? How can our members participate in the project activities at various levels? Can we build a community of cybersecurity education institutions and professionals, and really foster a greater sense of belonging and participation amongst the members? I've talked to a lot of our members and know many of them. Personally, I've been involved with CyberWatch since its inception back in 2004 when we were writing a planning grant. And back in the early days when we were a much smaller consortium, the membership meetings really constituted kind of once or twice a year. The members would come to Largo, Maryland, near Northern Virginia, and we would have face-to-face meetings, and those were really, really valuable. It was a chance to kind of share what others were doing and get some face time, and and really just there was I felt like a sense of community and belonging amongst the members. But as our footprint grew organically and programmatic work became much larger, and partnerships in other states took hold, and we took on members from other states, it was impossible to hold those face-to-face consortium meetings. And to some degree, I've heard this from some of our members. That sense of belonging is harder. Hard to feel like I belong. One, because there's been so much change within the community college cybersecurity community, especially the 5 centers, and 2, it's just there's so much going on. And then, the ultimate goal really is to provide a foundation so that we've got some kind of membership structure in place that will evolve as the National CyberWatch Center and the regional centers evolve. And so, really questions like what is the value of being a member get for it? What does the National CyberWatch Center want in return? What kind of models can we look to? There are regional, national, state, national models. This group that's looking at this membership initiative will be producing a report that'll get sent to me with recommendations. And so certainly keep the community. We'll let folks, we'll share that with folks, and it'll be an iterative process in terms of just the model. We may start with a small pilot. I don't know, maybe something like CyberWatch West and National CyberWatch Center, and then, are now any kinks. So more to come, though, in terms of just what it means to be a member of the National CyberWatch Center. So I'll stop there, and if anybody has any questions about that, I'm going to go ahead and mute folks. So if you can mute your phone, that will go a long way. And questions about the membership initiative itself? Okay. Hear none. We'll move on then. Just do a little housekeeping here, making sure. Got a question. Let's see here. Okay, perfect. All right. So members reception. So next week is the, I believe, 4th National Initiative for Cybersecurity Education Conference, or NICE Conference. As I mentioned earlier, it's in Columbia, between Baltimore and D.C. It's at the Sheraton. In the slides there, you see the location. We are going to be having a member reception. So our current members of the National CyberWatch Center, we'd love to get together on Tuesday the 4th from 6 to 8, the Waterside restaurant at the Sheraton Columbia, where this conference is. Just get together and hang out, talk. We'll have some light hors d'oeuvres, some beverages. Everybody on this call is welcome, even if you're not a member, you're thinking about becoming a member. Just a chance really to get together, meet each other. We have a lot of new members I personally have not met face-to-face. So I also know that we got some National Science Foundation funding. This is our third year now to support travel, especially travel for those that have never been to the NICE conference. And so if you're coming, new member, you're not a member, but you're coming to the NICE conference, all are welcome. We'd love to see you there from 6 to 8 on Tuesday, November 4th. So look forward to seeing everybody there. So one of the areas in which we've spent a lot of time the 4 years as a national center is unsexy internal organization and defining job roles really for staff. And the second piece is really an overall marketing and communication strategy. And that had really been lacking. We had no real formal communication strategy. So, no real communication coming from the National CyberWatch Center to our members. And so starting in November, we're going to be focusing once a month on a newsletter, and I believe it's going to come out the first Friday of each month. And it's really going to be geared towards senior administrators at your schools, to the members. But specifically with the faculty focus, and then highlighting faculty, highlighting programs of excellence, or as I like to say, programs of impact, as well as students. And there'll be kind of a fourth group that the newsletter is geared towards, which is kind of businesses, employers. And this will be those four constituents around which a monthly newsletter will be coming with links to get more information. So you'll see the first one coming out in November. So speaking of webinar series, we are going to continue with our series in 2015. We're going to keep it last Friday of each month. We take a break in July. Faculty are gone, as you are well aware of. So we'll take a break in July, but you can see the dates listed there. And interested really in getting feedback on topics. What kinds of things you want to hear about from us specifically. And I'm also even open to the idea of perhaps our members leading some of these web series. The format's been primarily moderated by Casey O'Brien. Our program, our project management team got together in 2013 and came up with the lineup for 2014. But we're totally open to topics, totally open to different presenters. We'll make this something that's valuable to you all. So I welcome suggestions for topics, and I'm going to type my email in the chat room. It's C-O'Brien, O-B as in boy, R-I-E-N as in Nancy, at cyberwatchcenter.org. Feel free to email me anything, always, but specifically topics for the 2015 webinar series. We're going to continue that. So I want folks to save the dates. June 17th, 18th, and 19th is the second CCS, or Community College Cyber Summit. Last year in July was the first Community College Cyber Summit, held in conjunction with the High Tech Technology Exchange Conference, or High Tech Conference, and we partnered with the other four NSF-funded community college cybersecurity centers to produce that, and it was an excellent event, great hands-on workshops, really good presentations, interesting keynotes, And the main takeaway from last year's 3CS was a blueprint, if you will, a roadmap for the role of community colleges in cybersecurity education and workforce development. And so we've got a group working on a first draft of that. And you'll over coming months, we'll be hearing that, of course, and eliciting feedback for those who want to provide that feedback. So it's going to be after the Colloquium for Information Systems Security Education, or the CISSE conference. If you want more information on that, it's cisse.info. The colloquium has been going on for, I don't even know, 15 plus years. And, the primary identity of the colloquium really has been aligned with the Center of Academic Excellence program. It was that group of educators from schools like Purdue and Idaho State, and one point early on that got together and worked with the National Security Agency to make sure that they were producing students from their programs that the agency wanted to hire, and thus spawned the Center of Academic Excellence program. And there's an awards dinner for that every year. And that's going on the preceding 3 days. So the 15th, 16th, and 17th is the colloquium. But it generally ends on that Tuesday. So in this case, June 16th. And folks will be arriving Wednesday, June 17th, and then we'll have a 2-day summit. And the College of Southern Nevada is going to be the host school, so there'll be hands-on sessions there and whatnot. So I encourage everybody to come. It's a really is a great event. It's an opportunity for those of us specifically focused on the community college space to get together, share ideas, et cetera, et cetera. So curriculum. I wanted to just talk to folks a little bit about what's happening with curriculum. Curriculum has been a tricky beast, if you will, because of some competing national standards that have slowed down, in my opinion, the ability for the academic community to really update and drive new curriculum. And specifically, two, if you will, competing federal standards that have been driving a lot of the discussions in the academic space are the National Cybersecurity Workforce Framework, or what folks incorrectly refer to as the NICE framework, and the National Security Agency knowledge units. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about. Let me go back here. Sorry, I wanted to talk a little bit about what's happening on both those fronts. So to kind of just to clarify the two, the closest thing we have in the burgeoning field of cybersecurity, whatever that term means, I guess cybersecurity really means the catch-all term that includes various aspects of what we used to call information security. Physical security, software assurance, network security, systems hardening, policies, business continuity, disaster recovery, common attacks, things like that, right? All of that is looked under this somewhat meaningless term of cybersecurity. And with that, the closest thing we have to a common body of knowledge is the National Security Agency's knowledge units. And if anybody's been reading up on the Center of Academic Excellence program designation requirements, or you've gone through getting your courseware at your program designated, then you'll be familiar with the knowledge units. And there's a set of core knowledge units, and then there are optional knowledge units. And it's the closest thing we have to a body of knowledge for this burgeoning field of cybersecurity. So that's one element. And a second element as it relates to curriculum is the National Cybersecurity Workforce Framework, which defines for the federal government. It's important to understand that this is a federal government initiative, about 30-plus agencies led primarily by the National Institute of Standards and Technology and Department of Homeland Security, to define job roles. specifically to start articulating the knowledge, skills, and abilities somebody in this newly defined security job role should have. And the goal then in the federal space is that they'll be able to come up with job codes. They'll be able to start tracking how many agencies will start tracking how many folks do they have with these job roles, where do we have gaps, how can we hire. And so that's largely the focus of the National Cybersecurity Workforce Framework. And the federal government, academia have really been working hand in hand to drive that initiative. Industry, in my opinion, has been largely absent from those discussions. I think that's changing. And I think you're going to see industry involved in the NICE conference next week in a big way. But have basically these two kind of, if you will, roadmaps. You have this common body of knowledge, the knowledge units, and then you have combined job roles, at least for federal jobs, in cybersecurity. And so to some degree, if you're a school thinking about developing content or you want to update content, most of us have been had an eye towards both the knowledge units and the National Cybersecurity Workforce Framework. The knowledge units got added about a year ago, and that kind of threw a wrench in things. There was a lot of confusion around, well, how the knowledge units different from the job roles, and isn't there overlap in the knowledge, skills, and abilities of students coming out of our programs where we're aligning our content to these knowledge units, but also then these job roles want people with similar knowledge, skills, and abilities. And so one of the things you'll see at the upcoming NICE conference, and we'll be making it available sometime in the next couple weeks, is this kind of mapping of the two, a crosswalk of the knowledge units, the common body of knowledge with these job roles, installed curriculum efforts, say the least. And so we'll see now, though, now that we've kind of done this crosswalk between the knowledge units and the National Cybersecurity Workforce Framework, is a set of, if you will, templates for community colleges and for your schools, for that matter, to start thinking about how to update their degree programs. And what I mean by a template is a model that we adopted about 6 years ago. So when CyberWatch developed its model degree program, we looked at the current, what were most community colleges teaching. In 2005 and 2006, it was Cisco, and there was Microsoft, and maybe some Red Hat, IT-related courses. And so it was a natural extension to look at bolting on security on top of those already existing courses. So what really became information system security, or network security, or information assurance degree programs. And so we came up with both a template for a degree program, and both AAS and AS degree programs, and kind of a course sequence and recommended courses, but also certificates that schools could offer as well. And that became the CyberWatch Model Degree Program. And the community, largely led by the Center for System Security and Information Assurance and CyberWatch, developed a bunch of content around that degree and certificate program, stood up professional development courses throughout the country to get faculty trained to teach this. Well, that degree program had gone through 3 different iterations, but really has not gone through an update in the past 2.5 years, and things were slowed down because of these perceived competing standards, the knowledge units, and then confusion around how the National Cybersecurity Workforce Framework job roles fit in. Well, now that work is really, for the most part, been done in terms of looking at the current degree program that CyberWatch has developed. How do we map it to the knowledge units? What kinds of job roles can our students get? We start looking at updating that degree program and certificate options. And so you'll see that in the coming months. And so only, so lots of options within the current degree program. So most of the community colleges are teaching some flavor of a network security, information system security / information assurance program. It usually includes a Security Plus class. It typically includes Cisco classes, was previously the Cisco Exploration 4 classes, which has now been changed to 4 new classes. It included perhaps a 1 or 2 server admin classes. It included perhaps a TCP/IP class, maybe a firewall, maybe intrusion detection prevention, and perhaps a capstone class that was a ethical hacking and systems defense course. That was largely the meat of the program, and we're looking at now kind of how we can continue to provide that as a template, but also different options. So perhaps schools want to focus primarily on the network security side. And so, a template would perhaps offer schools a degree where they only want to offer the first 2 Cisco classes, and students can go for the CCENT, or they want to offer all 4 Cisco classes, on top of these other foundational courses, Security Plus, perhaps hardware class. We're even having discussions around what should be kind of the core classes. Should it again the new knowledge units that are again the closest thing to a common body of knowledge. It includes things like scripting, so intro to scripting class. Perhaps virtualization should be a course every one of these degree programs. So the template is simply a set of courses, regardless of the degree or certificate specialization, but then lots of different options. So another option will be a focus on systems administration security. So instead of the network and the network security focus, so instead of kind of the Cisco CCENT, CCNA, Cisco security, IDS, VPN, firewall, protocol route, perhaps schools want to focus on system administration. So LPIC, Linux Professional Institute certificate, which is 3 courses, and then add a couple Windows server classes, again with some set of foundational courses, a virtualization class, a protocols class, a Security Plus class, a hardware class, a scripting class. But again, with security baked in. And what are other kinds of degrees we can offer in this template model, where the template is simply here's a recommended sequence of courses, here's how they map to this common body of knowledge called knowledge units. Here are the job roles that students can go after, and what makes sense beyond, say, just network security and system administration for us to be offering at the 2-year level. And with those templates in place, then what you'll see is a strategy around content development, which is desperately needed. And so this model worked very well over the past 6 years for CyberWatch when we designed the Information System Security degree program. And what you're going to see in terms of content development is a couple of things. One is National CyberWatch Center has supplemental funding from the National Science Foundation to experiment in the next couple of years with really addressing three issues. The first issue is there aren't enough people creating content. So, lab exercises, PowerPoints, assessments, etc. 2, we know what content is good, so some kind of validation process. And 3, how do we keep that content updated? And so the supplemental grant from the National Science Foundation is going to allow us to experiment with a crowdsourced model, maybe a limited crowdsourced model where we start, for example, with the Center of Academic Excellence programs, and faculty and students will receive stipends to develop content around a common topology that we've designed. It's a subnet topology. It's got 10 virtual machines in it running these OSs and these applications, and the course is, introduction to scripting. So, we need PowerShell, modules, and we need bash scripting modules. And then people can, as a community, will pay small stipends to those that want to develop that. The community will then validate and rank that content, and the cream of the crop rises to the top, and then that becomes content that gets packaged and delivered to our CyberWatch members. And so as one model to start developing content around these updated degree and certificate offerings. I'd be curious, to hear from the community what other kinds of degrees and certificates we should be offering, because in my opinion, the reality is we should not all be teaching the same thing. That model that we've adopted, and that's been kind of the strategy, especially in the community college space over the past 10 years, which is, okay, well, we were all teaching, Novell and Microsoft and Cisco and so, it made sense for all of us to adopt this information system security or network security like degree program and ramp up programs. And if you weren't teaching that, then you were probably teaching some kind of computer forensics at that time, and or both. And that represents the lion's share of the community college programs in this country. But that, in my opinion, is no longer an effective strategy. I think a more effective strategy for thinking about the kinds of courses, the kinds of degrees and certificates you should be offering centers around answering 4 questions, which is what are your local advisory councils telling you they want? They want students with X skills, so that should to some degree drive what you should be creating. 2, what are the strengths of your faculty? Right? Do you have faculty with strong computer science or programming or engineering or right? Not everybody has strength in networking. And so what are the strengths of your faculty? What are the high schools doing, if anything, right, that can become a feeder system for your program? You can mentor, where you can recruit, where you can start building perhaps a day program through parallel enrollments. And the 4th question I'm encouraging our members to think about around the kinds of content and or degrees and certificates they should be offering is, what are the 4-year schools doing, if you have any? Right, again, looking at ways in which you can articulate from programs into the 4-year space. And those should be driving the answer to those 4 questions should be driving what degree and certificate you should be focused on. And so, and there are some guideposts, right? I think an excellent place to look is the sorry, I got a question. I got distracted there. The DHS Center of Academic Excellence program. So they've got specifically, besides the core and optional knowledge units, which are this common body of knowledge for this burgeoning field, there are specialty designations, and there's about 65 of them. And the idea is that if you want to go after this Center of Academic Excellence designation, I think there's value in doing that, regardless if you're going to send students to go work in the federal government or not. The specialty designations allow schools to start focusing their programs and to differentiating their programs from other schools, and allow students who are looking for programs that focus specifically on mobile forensics to find those programs, and recruit specifically looking for students with mobile forensic skills to find students from those programs. So we'll be looking to those specialty or focus areas to help perhaps build out other degree and certificate options that schools then can basically adopt wholesale. And so, but I'd be curious to get feedback from you all on the kinds of programs you're thinking about creating. Should we be looking at some kind of software assurance program at the 2-year level that perhaps would solve the articulation problem, which is most of our programs are of the AAS variety, and many 4-year schools, if they have a security program, it's in a computer science you cannot articulate AAS programs into a comp sci program, for example. So how do we address that problem? And what are the other kinds of degree and certificates we want to be making available? And showing you how to, especially on the certificate side, how to start stacking these together. Right? So 4 or 5 course, 18, 19 credit certificates. So, start with an IT fundamentals, and then if you want to go down more a networking route with network security in mind, then you stack on these 4 Cisco classes, and then after that you bolt on the Cisco courses. Or if you want to go down a more system administration security route, then you start with these 5 classes, these 3 Linux classes, these 2 Microsoft classes, and then if you want to bolt on security on top of it, there's a follow-on certificate. But start articulating not only these degrees and certificates, but how you can stack them and put them together, ultimately lead to job roles. I mean, that's really where we're going with this, right? Is starting to offer updated degree and certificate options around a range of different specialty areas, given the strengths of your faculty and your high schools and 4-year schools, and what your local advisory councils are telling you, how to stack these certificates together, and then articulate the kinds of jobs that students can get after they say come out of your degree program and certificates. The way in which we are going to make content available once we come up with these templates for recommended courses, and we're going to employ 2 strategies. And one is we'll continue to make content available for free, probably through the Center for System Security and Information Assurance, CASIA site. And if you go to CASIA.org, they've got a resources page on the top of their website that has got a bunch of lab exercises available for free, and you can grab those. And they also have associated virtual machines, and you can continue to download those, and you can put this content together. And we'll continue to provide content in that fashion, free for those that want to basically kind of put courses together. But we're also going to start packaging content around these new degrees and certificates that will be we call course kits, and those will be you'll pay a fee for those. And we're working with Jones and Bartlett Learning to develop an entire set of course kits for the various courses in these updated degree and new certificate offerings. And what I mean by a course kit is everything you would want from your traditional publisher. So lab exercises, a virtual learning environment with virtual machines associated with the lab exercises, PowerPoint, syllabi, in every imaginable format. So, trimester, 7-week semester, 15-week semester formats, assessments, et cetera, et cetera. And the relationship is really it'll be National CyberWatch Center, CASIA, lab exercises, virtual machines, with then all of the kinds of other materials that your publisher traditionally provides, available in as a pluggable learning management system kit. And so that's going to be a new offering, and that's for those schools that really want to mess with, downloading virtual machines, getting them set up in their lab environment, and then downloading separate exercises, and then creating a syllabus, and then kind of putting it all together. Right? We're going to package it, we're going to sell it, and you can buy it, consume it in different ways. So that's the big news as it relates to curriculum, and you'll see more coming from the National CyberWatch Center articulating this. And it's about time. And I'm open to, to hearing from folks on the kinds of other degrees and certificates we should be offering. I know some community colleges are looking at control system security, so pipeline security or industrial control system security around electrical utility companies. Many are still focused on the forensic space. Whatever it is that folks are interested in, I think we need to be really clear about what we call these programs. I don't think cybersecurity helps us any, because it's an absolutely meaningless term unless we're really using it to talk about defining the larger field of what we used to call information security. Then I think that's fine. But we're talking about the kind of programs that we create, the degrees and certificates we're offering. Cybersecurity is not helpful from an employer standpoint, and it's not helpful from a student standpoint looking for programs. What's more helpful is that we get really specific. So it's a mobile forensics AAS, or it's a mobile forensics certificate, or it's a network security certificate, or it's a systems administration security certificate, or it's a pipeline industrial control system security class. And so you're going to see a push all from the National CyberWatch Center to really to start articulating these templates for these degrees and certificates around meaningful titles, if you will, right? With the job role in mind, and also I didn't mention it, but certificates. When we design curriculum, not only do we factor in, you can only have so many credits in a degree, you can only have so many credits in a certificate, and we need to finish in 2 years, but we also have to factor in the professional certification piece, and so we've done that. And so we'll see in these templates that we'll be releasing over the next couple of months will be, if I want to focus on network security and want to use the Cisco CCNA curriculum as the foundation, and then bolt on top of that the Cisco security courses, what are the actual certifications that students can get as a result of that degree or certificate program. We've designed these templates with that in mind. So with that, this is really the official prepared remarks I have, and I'll open it up to any questions at this point, really about anything. Go ahead, people.
My name is Tony Bozee, out of South Carolina, Florence Dolan Tech.
Hi.
What my question is, I'll ask, is there a supply chain security designation out there right now? That's the question. Go ahead.
There is. Let me see if I can find. I believe the answer is yes. Let me pull up. I'm still sharing my desktop, so bear with me here. Let me see if I can pull up the actual. I mentioned them earlier, but the Center of Academic Excellence program has listed specialty areas, and I'm pretty sure. Give me a second. I'm pretty sure that the specialty designations have supply chain. So if you see my screen, for those that are not using WebEx from a computer and you're dialing in, there are, it covers these specialty areas are things like we want to focus on cloud computing, or we want to focus on databases, or we want to focus on digital forensics. There's a whole bunch of them, and I'm pretty sure supply chain is one. If not, then we should talk about that. I know there are some folks that are interested in that. So University of Detroit Mercy, Dr. Dan Shoemaker, interested. I could get you in touch with him.
Okay. And the second question is, I just introduced to the watch at the the conference, the ATE conference that I just left.
Mm-hmm.
And for our school to become a member of CyberWatch, I just need to know exactly what that process is so we can get the faculty involved and also get everything up and running.
Great. So what do you do to become a member? So you contact Terry Kepner, K-E. So I'll type email in the chat room, but it's T-K-E-P. T as in Tom, K as in E as in elephant, P as in Paul, N as in Nancy, E as in elephant, R as in Roger, at cyberwatchcenter.org. Terry is the Director of Member Services, so T. Kepner at cyberwatchcenter.org. You send her an email and say, hey, I was on the webinar, the Members Update webinar series. Casey said to contact you. The process is simple. She'll send you some paperwork. It's basically a mutual memorandum of understanding that articulates the benefits you get as a member. It costs nothing to be a member right now. What we ask in return, and typically you get a dean level signature on that, and then you send the paperwork back to Terry, and at that point you're a member. So first step is to contact her, though. Okay.
All right. And what is the Center for South Carolina? What is the name of that center? The ATE Center for Security?
Advanced Cyber Forensics Education Consortium, or ACE. And they're headquartered at, see if I can find the URL for you, ACE Consortium. They are headquartered at Daytona State College, but they present Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina. So Advanced Cyber Forensics Education Consortium, and Philip Krieger is he's the pro investigator. So I'll plug in the URL in the chat room. It's daytonastate.edu/ACE, ACE. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Showing some of these on my screen right now. Some of these, let's see, specialty areas. I actually had the wrong set of slides. Some of these specialty areas that we're looking at to help perhaps create these new degree certificate templates are things like air security, industrial control system. You see network security administration and engineering. Those will continue to offer. Cloud computing, embedded systems, secure mobile technology. So there's a whole host of these that may or may not make sense at the two-year level, but certainly will help us kind of drive discussions around new curriculum offerings. So,
Thank you.
Other questions? So, well, let me. If not, then join in. Check your inboxes for future webinar invitations, and for links to today's recording. And the next webinar series, the last one of the 2014 series, is November 21st, Building Enrollments. And I appreciate everybody spending time with me today, and I hope you all have a safe and happy Halloween. And we'll see many of you next week in Columbia, Maryland for the NICE conference. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.